Welcome into the CDGATV studio here at the 2025 Chicago Golf Show. Joining us now is Tim Clarke, president of Tour Edge. Tim, thank you for taking some time to come up here and speak with us this weekend.
Thanks for having me. It wasn't that far of a walk. So
exactly.
I appreciate you guys making it convenient for me.
Exactly. The Tour Edge booth right behind us. Tim, fresh off his appearance on the CDGA Golf Show, the radio show. So excited to hear a lot of what you had to say about your new role with Tour Edge. I know you just started in the late summer, so how has it been so far getting that off the ground here?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I think, Tour Edge has been I've always looked at it as being in the industry for, almost 30 years now. It's always been a sleeper brand. So my thoughts were, when David reached out, I was kind of like, this could be a perfect marriage. I mean, David does amazing world-class product design and development. And quite honestly, my ability to build a brand and turn a brand around, I had, 27 years of Wilson Golf. And so I have a recipe and a formula that worked once, and that was a full turnaround, so it took a little while. But David's house is in very good order, so I think Tour Edge is, every time I'm in the office, I like to talk about we're in acceleration mode, we're in growth mode, we're in taking market share mode, so far so good. We're off to a good start in 25. Got a lot of cool projects going on, and I think the next 5 to 7 years for Tour Edge will be a lot of fun.
You mentioned, Dave being someone who built the company from the ground up, really. So what's it been like working with him and, building off of some of his philosophies and ideas?
Yeah, David, obviously, the Tour Edge will be going into its 40th year, and that's just an accomplishment to David and his will and staying power. This is not an easy business, right? And he continues to put out products that people desire to play. And I think the nice thing about our mix is I have worked for big companies all my career. I worked for Wilson, which is $1 billion corporation. After I left Wilson, I went to Perry Ellis and I ran their, we're giving away a lot of Tour Edge butters. This thing, it's been like one a minute.
Sounds like it. Yeah, we're in a hot streak right now for sure.
But yeah, and then when I departed Wilson, I went down to Miami. I worked for Perry Ellis. I ran the Callaway apparel brand as well as the Penguin apparel brand for them. Again, another $1 billion corporation. So to come to David was just different. It was kind of new and refreshing. So I think there's a little bit of learning. I think I've been able to help him with some systems and organizational and calendars and getting a better rhythmic approach to the golf industry. And he has been able to kind of educate me on what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And so between those two things, obviously we have some yin and yang and some disagreements on things, but that's healthy in a business. And ultimately those disagreements get you to the best decision and the brand gets in a better spot. So that's the ultimate goal. But he has been an absolute pleasure to work with. I can see why he's done so well. He's a very bright man, and when you're in business for 40 years in golf and you're 100% on your own, yeah, you're doing something right.
Absolutely. You mentioned your time with Wilson, obviously another Chicago area-based company. How big of a role did that play in your decision to go to Tour Edge, knowing that it's also here local to Chicago?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, when you work for a company as long as I worked for Wilson, you kind of never think it's going to end, right? So when it did end, it was kind of interesting. I've been fortunate. I was there long enough. I probably don't need to work, but I did get bored pretty quick. I took 6 months off, and I played more golf, and the scores kept getting higher, and I was like, this isn't how it's supposed to go, man. It's supposed to go down. So then when Perry Ellis reached out to me, they had tried to hire me about right before COVID. I was kind of like, all right, I'll fly down, and I got to be honest, the year in Miami wasn't all bad, guys. Just saying. And then coming back for this winter has been a little bit of a challenge. I'm still adjusted, but what got me excited was the fact that David has had such a successful brand. And at Perry Ellis, I'm not an apparel guy, and I learned that in my year. I mean, is that a 4-way elastic? Is that, what percentage is this? Hey, do you like the style? I would go into these meetings and the designers would come in, and I'm a pretty basic fashion guy, guys. So the designers would come in, they'd be like, what do you like? And I'd be looking at this wall of shirts, but I'd be like, I got no idea.
Overwhelming.
You give me an iron and say, what do you like? I can tell you what I like, and I'm pretty good at that. So the departure was just kind of I think everything happens for a reason, and when David reached out, it was one of those fits. It seemed too good to be true. So while it's great to be back in Chicago, I do wish the climate was a little bit different, especially this time of year, guys.
Well, we're almost to spring and summer
Yes.
and a full golf season, which, this means it's kind of product launch time. So
Yes, it is.
what are some of the new initiatives that Tour Edge has been bringing to market here recently?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, the CDGA does such a great job in Chicago area. We're great to be partnered around it, and you guys support us, and we work together quite well for a number of years. And it's a sponsorship we're very proud to have and continue. So that's one. I always like to make sure we recognize how important those organizations are to the infrastructure of the golf game that keep people coming out and playing, which is critical for a golf equipment company to survive. So thank you. On the equipment side, obviously we launched the 725 exotic line. That was in November, and now we have the hot launch product, which is our price down product. The exotics is our elite. This is our mid-tier product. And so we have the 525 line. It's probably the best looking line I've seen in that series from Tour Edge. So we're super excited. We got great reception on it. Performance is fantastic. Obviously, David, he designed and introduced the thing called the Ironwood, which is something that Tour Edge has built its business on. And the Ironwood in that family is a great playing product. So we're pretty excited about that. We also have a new Wingman putter coming out. And then probably one of the sleeper products that we've been working on and we're getting ready to launch it is a new golf bag line. And golf bags have changed quite a bit, as you guys know, since COVID. A lot more carry. Much more about styling, less about branding. The old school is everyone's like, plaster your brand. And part of this is understanding, you guys are all young here, so part of the golf industry is trying to do is we have a lot of senior guys running golf companies, but we have a lot of young guys now playing golf, and so trying to understand what makes you guys and women tick, right? And the thing we learned was that you guys don't want to carry a big Tour Edge side panel. You don't mind a mark or a sign off, but you want it to be less visible. So the new line has been modified to appease the consumer desires, and that's one of the things I was big at Wilson, and it's something I'm trying to really instill here at Tour Edge is and I really wish those horns were for putter sales, not giveaways, but we'll take them. At least we're going to get some demo and trial in our putter line.
That's right.
But what we really are trying to pivot to is consumer-centric. What does the consumer want, right? And the old days of golf, it was kind of like, what does the buyer want, right? Those days are gone, right? Because you're social media, you're talking to the consumer. Consumers have a relationship with brands, and if you can build a relationship, you got a long-time consumer, and that's what we're working on.
Lastly, as we've alluded to, part of the festivities at the golf show is anybody who makes the longest putt behind us automatically wins a Tour Edge putter.
Yes.
So I think we've heard 3 or 4 just in the time we've been talking.
I think it's been like 9 since I sat down. Yeah. I'm hoping we got the allocation right. We might have to bring another shipment up.
But just in general, a fun part of the show, and I know in talking with you on the way up here, you were saying that it's been a good experience for you so far. So what's been your overall impressions of the Chicago Golf Show?
Yeah, you know why? I used to come to it when I was with Wilson. So, I would say, I think since the CDGA has taken it over, it's a much better product. I think the world's about experience, right? That's the change. The days of, I was reading a big article on how the days of like getting Christmas gifts for your kids, it just doesn't happen like it did when I grew up. Now it's like, hey, we're going to go on a ski trip, right? So I think what you guys have done is you guys have done that very well with your putting, with your simulators, with your demo area. And I think people come up here, obviously I call this show the kickoff of Chicago golf season. We know the weather's close now, and watching people in the hitting bays and hitting products and the line to get into that, and watching the line for putters. I think you guys do a great job of just bringing golf to life in an indoor environment for a market that I would say is the best golf market in the world.
Yeah, we feel the same way, and it's due in large part to our relationship with partners like Tour Edge that we can do everything here at the show. So thank you very much for your support. Thank you for taking the time again, and looking forward to keeping in touch with you moving forward here.
Thank you, guys.